Recording. All right, fantastic. And we're going to jump right into the training, right? And of course, here at Team New Horizons, we understand that the only place where success comes before training is in the dictionary. This is something that's going to be transpiring every Friday at 11 a.m. It's kind of like a pilot program. We're going to see how it goes, okay? Of course, for individuals who may be new to this training or have not been formally introduced to Team New Horizons, one of our organizational goals and objectives is literally to help over 100,000 entrepreneurs over the next 10 years successfully launch, grow, and scale from a team of me to a team of we. We believe that entrepreneurship is empowerment, and that if you really want to help people take control of what's happening at their kitchen tables, have say-so in terms of what transpires in their community, the best way to do that is for them to become the employers of their family, friends, their neighbors. That way they can actually curate the life experience they desire in the neighborhoods in which they reside, as opposed to being dictated to. And of course, at the end of the day, what undergirds our approach to the marketplace, and quite frankly to each other, is our uplifting service agreement and earning a reputation as a premier business solutions provider. Now, there are certain principles that we are going to reiterate and share time and time again. We know that the most important asset that we all have is our focus, right? What you tend to focus on is it's kind of like the sun, right? Our attention works the same way. What you focus it on grows, right? And so we're going to make sure that we are aware and committed to the expectations of celebrating, edifying, protecting the system. We celebrate each other, we edify, we lift each other up. In our organization, leadership is determined not by status or how long you've been with the company, but your capacity to lead with activity and, quite frankly, teach other people to do the same. We're committed to personal development. We know you do not get in life what you want, you get in life what you are, right? And you'll oftentimes see the hashtag decide, be, do, have, right? Oftentimes people want to have before they decide to do, right? Oftentimes want to have before they make the decision. But we know decide, if you look at the suffix of it, side, if you see that suffix in any other word, whether it be pesticide, homicide, suicide, whatever the case may be, you know something has to die, right? So when you decide to do something, your excuses must die, right? And then you go about the process of being the thing that you want to see in your life and in your business, right? And then you do the work, and then you have the things that you are in the process of being. So personal development is all about making that manifest in your life. So we always have a book of the month. This month's book is 21 Irrefutable Laws by John C. Maxwell. Of course, we also focus very hard on using third-party tools. That is what allows our business to grow and scale and duplicate. And once again, we provide uplifting service agreement. If individuals have not read our uplifting service agreement, we strongly encourage you to do so. All right. So I'd be remiss if I did not focus on and pay our respects and give some recognition to performance code qualifiers. These are individuals who, quite frankly, epitomize our principles, right? And as performance code qualifiers, what do? We wash our face, we brush our teeth, we read 10 pages of the good book a day, and we performance code qualified, right? We want to make that something that we all commit to, that we teach others to do the same. If you're performance code qualified, that means you are in the process of being, that you've made the decision and you're doing the work, right? You're going out there and telling the story and helping other individuals make intelligent decisions for their families and their businesses, and of course, building a thriving, profitable business as well. So I want to recognize Ms. Joyce Johnson-Tyus. I want to recognize Dr. Angela Roman. I want to recognize Ms. Adia Webb, give myself a pat on the back. And of course, Ms. Johnson, I do want to recognize you because you have PCQ qualified right out the gate in the first 5 days of the month. So congratulations, Ms. Johnson. All right. So what we're going to talk about next, like I said before, is getting the bag, right? And oftentimes you hear me talk about getting the bag, I'm stressing not necessarily getting a sale, but in our organization, what's the bag? Well, the bag is creating an environment, creating relationships where people like, know, and trust you, where they see you as credible, where they see you as the plug. The objective is to build your business in such a way as to whether or not an individual makes a buying decision or not, they respect you, they trust you, they know that you're there to help individuals, which means they're more inclined to tell other people about you, right? And if you can create an environment, if you can create a network of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 individuals who like, know, and trust you and respect you and see you as a credible individual who's in a community and here to help people, they're going to be more inclined to tell individuals about you, right? And ultimately, that's what you want to see transpire. If you're sharing the value proposition and you're being professionally persistent and you're doing it in a professional manner in terms of your presentation, we don't have to worry about whether or not individuals will acquire our service and product. We know we have a very viable value proposition out here for individuals who understand the importance of making better financial, business, legal, and personal decisions, right? So with that being said, I'm going to talk more specifically about how Jawan Buford got the bag 15 years ago, right? And so, we fast forward to today, and oftentimes people have this impression that somehow when I started out in this business, that I crushed it right out the gate, the circumstances were favorable, that it was just like an easy hand and glove fit. And that certainly was not the case. Okay, when I took a look at this company in 2008, the economy's in the toilet, my income had been cut in half. I was struggling like everyone else. And I think if you're a parent listening, especially, you understand where I'm going with this. Just because your income's cut in half, that does not necessarily mean your responsibilities are cut in half. So I was struggling like everyone else. I was stressed out. And so I understand for those of you who may be in a situation where, I need this to work right now, but I'm stressed. I'm distracted. I got a lot of different things going on. I get it. When your stomach is touching your back, it's hard for you to be your best self. But I want you to know I was there, okay? 70 hours a week. My daughter sometimes falling asleep in the office. Things were not going very well. I was working 70 hours a week. So 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, oftentimes to, quite frankly, 10 p.m. in the day, when I took a look at this company. And I think we all can agree, those are not ideal circumstances to start a business, particularly given the stress I was dealing with as a general agency owner and investment advisor, okay? I didn't have much in the way of cash flow, right? When I took a look at this company back in 2008, it was $250. Now, in my mind, quite frankly, you can't start up a lemonade stand for $250, but still, $250 is $250. That's all relative, right? Some individuals, that is the difference between being able to pay their cell phone or being able to pay their rent or being able to pay their car note, particularly given what's going on with the economy today. So I didn't have a lot of cash flow. I'm gonna be really transparent. I was going through a custody battle and it was draining me. I remember over approximately a year period of time, I lost in terms of monies and profits and everything else. I mean, I came out of pocket approximately $30,000, right? It was bad. It was not in a good place. I was considering filing bankruptcy. I was stressing about whether or not I'd even be able to see my daughter again. It was a very challenging time. My savings was depleted. I'm in the middle of building a financial services agency when the economy is cratering. Okay. People were not coming to my office about how can I invest $1 million? They were liquidating their assets. So these are the circumstances that I was dealing with when I took a look at PPLSI Legal Shield. And I share this information with you, once again, not to impress you, to impress upon you many individuals who come to our business, many individuals who right now, given what's transpired in the pandemic, heading into the teeth of the recession that, in my opinion, has already started, people are looking at starting up businesses. They finally realize if you believe in job security, you might as well believe in oxymoron. And they're trying to find a landing spot where, despite all these challenges that they're having, despite all these distractions that may be occurring, despite all the stresses that they may be dealing with, they want to find a viable opportunity where they can generate income right away. And let's be real, not run themselves into the ground, right? And those are my circumstances. So, despite all those challenges, what did I have available to me? And what does everyone have available to them? Well, look, let's be real. We all know 100 individuals. Most of us have 100 contacts in our phone. Or if we don't have 100 contacts in our phone, maybe we have 20 or 30 individuals in our phone, but we certainly maybe will have 40 or 50 connections online via social media, right? So conditions are a little bit different today than they were yesterday. I know there are a lot of people who really don't communicate via text anymore. There's a lot of people out here who don't communicate and pick up the phone anymore. They're communicating via social media. But the bottom line is we all have networks approaching 100 individuals. And I'm here to tell you that's all you really need. Now, of course, one of the first questions individuals will ask, okay, so I'm starting up this business with PPLSI Legal Shield. Great value prop. How do I build my network? How do I engage my network? How do I go about approaching individuals that doesn't feel salesy, right? I don't want to alienate my family, friends, and neighbors, right? I don't want to alienate my network. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that gal where when I call up individuals, they're like, oh snap, he or she is trying to sell me something. Well, I'll tell you what I did. I formed everybody. I approached people with good form. And what's good form? As I was starting my business, I was calling up individuals that I had spoken with a week ago. I was calling up individuals that I had spoken with 2, 3 years ago. I was calling up individuals that I hadn't spoken with in 10 to 15 years. Yeah, that's exactly what I did, right? And I didn't call them up and say, hey, I have this fantastic product or service. I need you to buy it from me so I can generate income for my family and get out of robbing Peter to pay Paul in this check-to-check lifestyle. That's not what I did, right? Because that wouldn't have worked. That would have alienated everybody. I did the exact opposite. I would call individuals and I would form them. Form is an acronym for family, occupation, recreation, motivation. Now, I don't have time to do a deep dive on the psychology of this, but there's a book out there by Dale Carnegie called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And he really goes into this. He does a really deep dive. But that's what I was doing. And look, here's the thing. If you chat with someone, whether you're really cool with them or whether or not you haven't talked to them in 15 years, and you ask them questions like, look, you and I haven't chatted in a while. I understand you've probably been going through changes. I certainly have as well. Look, if you don't mind, you have a couple moments. People say, well, yeah, we can catch up quickly. And say, well, talk to me, man. What's going on with your family? Or what are you doing nowadays? Or what are you doing for a living? What career moves have you made? Right? Just light conversation. And I would talk to people and ask them about why they were in the profession they were in. What were they most excited about? Keep in mind, I'm focused on business owners, right? I'm focused on entrepreneurs. And every business owner, every entrepreneur's favorite topic is their business. So I'm calling up individuals. I'm like, hey, what's going on with your record shop? Hey, what's going on with your medical clinic? Hey, what's going on with your convenience store? Hey, what's going on with your gas station? Hey, what's going on with your car dealership? Hey, what's going on with your real estate practice? Talk to me about it. How have things been going? And what would they do? They would open up and they would talk to me for at least 2, 3 minutes. And most of us, if we're entrepreneurs and we're business owners, a lot of us have started businesses, do what? Take care of our families. And so inevitably, what would they start talking about? They would start talking about their families. I'd be like, hey, that's fantastic. That's really exciting. Talk to me, what are you most excited about in terms of business? What are you looking to achieve over the next couple of years or so? And they would start talking about the vacations they want to take. They would start talking about the house they want to buy, how they want to upgrade their vehicle, how they're considering a career change. They got to talk to the wife first, and they're thinking about their children and what schools they're going to attend. And these are the type of conversations I was having with individuals. I wasn't getting on the phone. I wasn't talking about the Game of Thrones. I wasn't talking about The Wire. I wasn't talking about the latest beef between a politician or celebrity. I was getting on the phone. I was talking to them about the things that matter most. And I know many of them, they were waiting for the sales pitch. They were waiting for it, but it never came. It never came. So I'm talking to them, asking them questions about, what's going on with the business, a house, a family, and they're giving me a little bit of information about that. And I'm like, what motivated you to start the business? What's the story behind it? It's something I'd like to learn a little bit more about so I can be of support to you. And once again, you get people to start talking about their motivations, inevitably it's going to lead back to what? How they want to level up in life. It's going to end up leading to them talking about their family. So, of course, I had a child at the time, now children, and I would talk to them about what's going on with my children. That's how I would develop rapport. And I would do that. And trust me, the conversation didn't last 15, 20, 30 minutes, an hour. No, I'm having quick 5, 10 minute conversations. But this is what I know. If you can have a conversation with someone where at least if you get 3 out of the 4 right, 3 out of the 4, family, occupation, recreation, motivation, get them to talk about those things, they're going to like, know, and trust you. They're going to feel more comfortable with you. The key here is, and what I was very focused on in the beginning, and quite frankly, it's the same approach I've taken with all the businesses I've ever started, is I wanted to form people. I wanted to develop rapport. I wanted them to like, know, and trust me. I wanted them to feel comfortable and know that I was interested in them. I didn't call them up to be interesting. I didn't call them up with the attitude of, you woke up this morning to make me rich. No one wakes up with the ideal in their minds. how can I help Ms. Johnson? How can I help Ms. Wells? How can I help Dr. Rome become wealthy? No, they're thinking about themselves. Double IFM, what's in it for me? So I made an effort to be interested in people. And look, was everyone always open to the conversation? Of course not. When I called up individuals and some of them say, look, I don't remember who the hell you are. Click, click, boom, hang it up, right? Did I get that quite a bit of times? Yeah. Did I get cursed out and yelled at? I didn't discriminate. So I'm calling individuals like whether they liked me or not. If we had beef, it didn't matter. I'm getting a phone call. I'm not discriminating. And that's what I did. I formed individuals. But I tell you what, the majority of individuals were really at peace with the approach. And a lot of them told me they appreciated it. Some people actually told me, I expected you to try to sell me something. You didn't do that. I appreciate that. But you know what also would happen very frequently is they would turn around and they would ask me, well, what are you doing? Right? If you form individuals, if you have conversations with people about their family, occupation, recreation, motivation, at some point they're going to turn around and ask you, well, how are you doing? What are you doing for a living nowadays? How are you taking care of your children? What are you doing for recreation? What's motivating you, right? I was having reciprocal conversations with individuals. And so that's the first seed I want to plant with individuals who are just getting started, launching their entrepreneurial endeavor. Once again, you don't want to be the billboard. You know what I'm talking about. You have people on Facebook and on their Instagram, and to an Instagram is a little bit more acceptable, but you have people who are posting nothing but billboard material. Every time you look at their social media, they're selling something, right? And they're trying to link your page to it or trying to tag you and stuff, right? No, you want to do the exact opposite. So number one, mindset. Right? I want to share that with you in terms of how I was able to get the bag. Number one, it was all about the approach. Now, here's the other thing that I did understand that did give me a little bit of an advantage that I know other people don't understand, okay? I don't necessarily get all the time. The other thing I understood was the importance of utilizing tools and the importance of edification. As an investment advisor, when I first started out my practice 20 years ago, I'm a poor kid from Detroit, okay, Highland Park. Yeah, I attended the University of Michigan. Yeah, I had some pretty good connections in that environment. When I came back home, it was the same family members and friends that I had grown up with. And let's just say none of them had disposable income, and certainly none of them had $1 million to invest with me, right? So I had to learn real quick how to create credibility. I had to learn real quick how to rely on the experience and wisdom of others. So when I would sit across the table from someone and when I would have a conversation with them and begin utilizing tools and information, introduce them what I did for a living, I was already accustomed to saying, look, if a person asked a question or they made a statement and I didn't quite understand it, or it was a situation where I knew I was punching above my weight class, the person was a multimillionaire or doing very well for themselves, and I was having conversations about concepts where they're looking at me like, look at your green pea. We know you don't come from money. Look, it is what it is, right? So I understood very early on that I had to rely upon the leadership of the individuals around me. And this is something, it's a seed I want to plant with you. When you're first starting out as an entrepreneur, your family, your friends, your connections, your network, they know you're brand new. Okay, they know you're not elite. They know you're not the creme de la creme. They know you're not the most informed. They know you're not the most effective. They know your skill set, you know, isn't at a level that, quite frankly, they may have respect for. You need to rely on the leadership and the team around you. So that's what I was accustomed to doing already. So somebody would come into the office and we'd be talking about Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, simple Section 79 plans. And I would say, look, let me do you a favor. There's a gentleman by the name of Peter, or there's a gentleman by the name of Bill, or there's a gentleman by the name of Craig, who has a lot of experience, have helped a lot of people, okay? They're doing fantastic in terms of practice, really down to earth. Let me do you a favor. And I would introduce people to the senior leadership in the agency. And then once they met the senior leadership would turn around, they would edify me. They would say, look, Juwan Buford's young, but he's a very hard worker, very sharp, very intelligent. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here part of our organization. Know that you're in fantastic hands. And if there are answers he doesn't have, he can very quickly connect you to other people who could. You owe it to yourself. Give them 10, 15 minutes of your time, right? I was already accustomed to taking that tact and approach. And so it's no different here. If you're brand spanking new, and look, if you are a multimillionaire in the real estate industry, fantastic. You've earned millions of dollars as an investment advisor, fantastic. You've done well in the B2B SaaS space and done very well for yourself, fantastic, okay? You've created an IT or tech company and sold it for $1 million, great, that's fantastic. That doesn't mean jack shit here. I shouldn't have said that's being recorded. Doesn't mean jack here. The bottom line is you're brand spanking new. They may know you as a successful real estate agent, but they don't know you as a successful B2B entrepreneur at PPLSI. They may know you as that guy that did very well in tech and SaaS, but they may know you as someone who's done very well as an attorney or as a tax and accounting professional, but they don't know you as a B2B consultant that's done well as an entrepreneur with PPLSI. And so you got to get over your pride. You got to adjust your self-concept a little bit, okay? And utilize third party. Be willing to, when you're sharing information with anyone, whether it be back when I was starting out, we had DVDs, right? Our videos sucked because that was kind of like new technology. So we're utilizing DVDs, we're utilizing brochures, and we were utilizing audios, and we were inviting people to conference calls. There was no Zoom back then, so there was no webcast, right? So we were utilizing these older tools, and when I would introduce people to the tools, I would ask them what they liked best. And once again, if they had questions, if they had concerns, if they made statements, I would say, look, let me do you a favor. And that's how I was able to create credibility. But you know what it also creates? It creates culture. It allows individuals who are brand spanking new to understand that you don't need to be the deal. You don't need to be immensely successful to succeed as an entrepreneur in our space, right? And it was creating duplication. Because let's be real, we could take someone who's working at Speedway with no business acumen whatsoever. And as long as they're willing to actually introduce people to our value proposition and they're willing to get out of the way and introduce them to other individuals who have the answers to the solutions that their prospects that they're dealing with have, they can have success with the company. And you also earn as you learn, right? On these joint conversations, on these joint phone calls, I was listening to the objections. I was learning about how to overcome concerns that individuals have. I was learning different things about what it meant to be a successful investment advisor. But you know what? Because I took that same approach, I was also learning how to be an effective PPLSI business owner / franchise owner. I was learning those things. So it increased my learning curve considerably, right? And that's why this piece is so important. The other reason that this is so important, right? Because I know what you're waiting for. You want to know, okay, Juan, all this sounds great, but look, if you don't have the mindset, it's not going to work, okay? The other reason why this was important in terms of mindset is understand successful people, particularly people who've built sales teams, people who've built organizations, individuals who've been able to go out and build sizable enterprises. Everyone understands at a certain point that by talent and hard work wins games, teams win championships, okay? You don't become or build a multi-million-dollar organization without teamwork. And people like to join teams. They like to be in environment of success. They're not going to look at you on your own all the time and say, you know what, you as an individual have success, I think I can too. But if you get introduced to the 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 people from different socioeconomic backgrounds, different academic backgrounds, different professional backgrounds, different cultural, ethnic backgrounds, different sex, religions, et cetera, right? Who are all having success, that's called social evidence, right? And I let people know, look, there's cement here. There's a solid foundation. There's a culture of success here. I can participate and win here, right? All right, so I'm going macro and slowly but surely working micro, right? So here's the other thing. Part of what helped me have success really fast, right out the gate, was what you're looking at here. I looked at the compensation plan. And look, these numbers are different than what they were when I took a look at the company 15 years ago. But in terms of the structure of the compensation, it's very similar, right? Most people, when they come into the business, they look at the bottom rung. That's not what I did. I looked at that top rung. I said, what do I need to do to get to the highest permanent position with the company where I can earn the most money per hour of my time, right? Back then, when I wasn't really thinking as a business owner, when I really wasn't thinking about building a business of scale, I still had a self-employed mindset, but it served me because my time was valuable. And if I had a choice between sitting down with someone and earning $70 an hour versus earning $370 an hour, that's the position I wanted to get to. And they told me, look, Juwan, the director position with our company, when you reach that level of our company in terms of production, you don't go backwards. So basically, when I sit across the table from someone, assuming that things go favorably, I'm going to be earning anywhere from $220, $295 an hour. Now, how do I get there? Right? So that's the other thing too. I wanted to know what was required for me to get to that point, and that's what drove me. Right? Now I'm gonna get to what I know you've been waiting for. Right? So I'm forming people. I'm having a conversation with people. They begin reciprocating and asking me questions. Or I'm calling up individuals who I already have a rapport and a relationship with, and I'm forming them, right? But after I've gone through form with them, what was I sharing with them? Well, you're looking at it, right? It wasn't some long 15-minute script. It wasn't some 2-3 hour long sales pitch. It wasn't at all. I would call up individuals, and this is literally the language I use. And you know what? The fascinating thing about it today is it's still the same language I use even today, particularly when I'm working within my network, within my warm or lukewarm market, right? And so I would call up Cedric, or I would call up Maurice, or I would call up Derek, or I would call up Kasoga, right? Literally, people were my friends, and I called them up. This is what I said. I said, look, man, I just made an investment, and I'm really excited about it. Anyone who knows me, I don't get excited about much, right? I'm kind of even keel, real cool. I just kind of keep it chill, right? So I call them and say, look, man, I just made an investment and I'm really excited about this. And look, as I'm sharing this with you, please do not be lazy in language. Don't be lazy in language. I did not say I have this opportunity. I didn't say, hey, man, I'm calling you up because I want you to join me in business. No, I said, look, I made an investment in myself. I'm excited about it. I found an organization and some tools that I know are going to help me make better financial, business, personal, and legal decisions as an entrepreneur and business owner. And what we're doing may or may not be for you, but look, you owe it to yourself to take 15, 30 minutes to learn what we're doing. That's all I said. Now, at the time, remember, I'm working 70 hours a week. I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul. The economy's in the toilet, right? And other people are dealing with the same stuff, right? But there was a luncheon taking place right down the street, 10-minute drive from my office where I was at. And so I would say, look, I made an investment, I'm excited about it. I think I found a way to make better decisions and level up despite challenging economy. And look, it may or may not be for you. In other words, I'm not calling to sell you anything. I'm just calling to share it with you. But you owe it to yourself to take 15 to 30 minutes. Lunch is on me. Lunch is on me. And literally what I was doing is I was inviting people to the cafe right down the street. And I was saying, look, there are some individuals there. Remember, people like to join teams. People like to be in environment success. They want to be around a culture. People are leveling up. And I would say, look, there's some entrepreneurs there who've had tremendous success. They're crushing it right now, doing exceptionally well in their different endeavors. They're having a luncheon where they're talking more about how they've been able to do this. You owe it to yourself. You should go there. Lunch is on me. And so literally, that's what I was doing. Uh-oh. I just had to stop. Okay, pull the screen back up. All right. So people were going to the luncheon. And I was literally inviting, I want to say, about 3 people a day, maybe 5. And so we're talking about 3 to 5 people a day. So, we're looking at 5 days a week, talking about 15, perhaps 25 people a week. Just keep in mind, I didn't have a lot of time. So I was just extending the invitation. And if I invited that many people, I'd have about 3 to 5 people show up to the luncheon. So I was having about 3 to 5 people show up. I had to pay $10 per person. So paying $10 per person, I mean, I was spending anywhere from, I don't know, $30 to $50 per luncheon. And this is what I knew, because the value proposition was so good, because what we were doing was so effective, because the environment was so inviting. If I invited 5, I knew 2 people would go ahead and participate as clients of ours. And once again, you're looking at the compensation plan, right? So I said, look, if I can get to that 220, That means I could put $50 in, and literally 2 hours later, I'd earn anywhere from an extra $400 to extra $600. Where I come from, that's a fantastic return on my time and effort, right? Fantastic return on investment. And literally, that's what I was doing. I want you to follow me here. I wasn't giving presentations. I wasn't jumping out of the bushes chasing people. I wasn't harassing people. I wasn't doing any of that. I was calling up individuals that I knew, simply inviting them out to lunch. That's how I was able to successfully build a business. And I, once again, would do that 3 to 5 times a day, 15 to 25 times a week. That's it. It wasn't rocket science. It wasn't a bunch of theatrics or a bunch of gymnastics. It wasn't any of that, right? That's what I was doing. For the business owners that weren't able to attend, you're looking at a questionnaire. So the person says, look, man, I can't make it. I want to make it. Can you invite me next week? Go ahead, let me do you a favor. Because once again, what I'm doing may or may not be for you. I want you to gain a good understanding of what it is we're doing. Okay, I'm downtown Detroit. You can't be downtown Detroit doing anything about hearing at least one fire hydrant or squad car. In any respect, I would send them this questionnaire that you're looking at, and I already know what your question is. Can I get that questionnaire? Yes, you can. Actually, if you go to our onboarding platform with our organization where we educate people how to get started with us, this questionnaire is there on page 8 of our onboarding site. And so this is the questionnaire I would give to business owners. And I would send it to them via email, or sometimes if the business owner couldn't go to the luncheon, Fridays, I had set aside time from between 12 and 2 to give a mental break. I would go out to lunch, and I made sure I never went out to lunch alone. So if somebody couldn't make that lunch that was taking place down the street, I would invite people out to lunch with me. And what I would do is I would sit across the table from them. I would form them family, occupation, recreation, motivation. And I would literally put this questionnaire in front of them when they asked me what I was doing. And I would say, look, let me ask you a couple of questions, entrepreneur to entrepreneur, right? And they would answer the questions. And if they checked off, yes, they had a dispute with the landlord. They checked off, yes, they had questions about maximizing their tax deductions. If they checked off, yes, I have an interest in increasing my business sales and profits. Now, number one, I've never heard of a business owner or entrepreneur say they're not interested in increasing their sales or profits, right? That's kind of low-hanging fruit, right? I would, they would check off, yes, I'm interested in learning how to more effectively market in business. I would say, look, that's fantastic. Look, let me do you a favor. Let me introduce you to someone who's had a lot of success, who's helped a lot of people, really down to earth. You owe it to yourself. They've been very helpful to me, and they've managed to have success despite the economic times that we're dealing with. Let me do you a favor. And so once again, I want you to pay attention to this. I want you to follow me, because this is about speed. This is about efficiency. Now, someone is on the line. It's all good. You have some background noise. It's cool. I do too. But if you got lions, tigers, and bears in the background, I'm going to ask you to mute your line, okay? If you got lions, tigers, and bears in the background, mute your line so you can still listen in, but so we're not getting static through the line. Okay, fantastic. All right, so I would say, look, let me do you a favor. I know some business owners can be very effective at helping you with these areas of your business, right? And I would introduce them to someone. They would have the conversation with them. And once again, they would invite them out to a luncheon, or they'd invite them to look at an audio or video. It was really that simple. And once again, I want you to pay attention to where I'm going here. Nowhere are you hearing me talking about I was giving a bunch of presentations. I did not have time to. I was already working 70 hours a week. If this business required me to call up individuals, hunt them down, talk them into sitting in front of me, give some type of sales presentation, and hopes they would make a favorable buying decision, I would not have succeeded at this business because I did not have the time, the bandwidth, or the experience, right? What you're looking at there is another question I would ask individuals, right? I took this from Dave Savola, one of the wealthiest B2B direct selling entrepreneurs in the entire industry. And I would call up individuals sometimes, especially if I was getting ready to go out to lunch on Friday. And I say, look, I got something important I'd like to show you. Or I got something important I'd like to share with you. It only take 15 minutes. You may or may not be interested. By the way, lunch is on me. And people would come out to lunch with me. So once again, I never ate alone. And I would use this survey. I would ask some questions after I formed them: family, occupation, recreation, motivation. And if they had additional questions, I would do the three-way. I'd introduce them to somebody else. Or you already know where this is going. I would invite them to the luncheon. Back in the day, we had CDs. Well, now we have these incredible presentations, these incredible HD overviews and videos that we can invite people to listen to. Or I would invite them to a webcast, or back in our day, it was a conference call, right? We didn't have webcasts. We had conference calls. But today we have webcasts. So, every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there's a B2B solutions presentation taking place, where we talk about the common issues that entrepreneurs and business owners, particularly their startups, the common challenges they have to deal with, and how we provide solutions to help them inexpensively overcome those issues, right? So though it is 15 years later, the strategy hasn't changed, right? And so what are the key pieces of this? Number one, extending the invitation. We're not salesperson for sorters, right? Inviting people to talk to other individuals who are more experienced, inviting individuals to luncheons, inviting individuals to now our B2B webcast, inviting individuals to look at the overviews, and then edifying, right? Edification. Now, I know in our society it's weird today, right? People have a hard time edifying each other for whatever reason. People just don't like to speak well of each other anymore. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. But that was key. So people weren't making buying decisions based on their relationship with me. They were making decisions to learn about what it is we were doing based on their interactions with the people whom I was introducing them to, and quite frankly, the value prop. So no one ever felt like they were being sold by me. No one ever felt like they were being talked to anything by me. No one ever felt like they were being cajoled or tricked into doing anything. I was giving individuals, we call it permission marketing, where you ask permission to share information with people. They make the decision, say, yeah, I'll take a look at it. They look at the information and make the decision for themselves. As opposed to 20 and 30, 40 years ago, what people would do is they would meet someone and they would try to overwhelm them with sales tactics and information and education and expertise in hopes of getting them to make a buying decision. That's not what we do here. The individuals who are most effective, the reason why I was able to build with speed and to create that type of income in a short amount of time, right? Put myself on pace for $20,000 over the course of a 4-month period of time, 5 hours a week, is because I wasn't giving sales presentations. I was inviting people to learn about these tools, and I was edifying the people around me. I was edifying. Earlier this morning, I spoke for a business owner, and she had a background where she's very altruistic. She gives a lot in her community. She's constantly talking to and working with people, whether it be the fire department, the police department, different organizations to provide funding and support for children in the neighborhood, PAL League, stuff like that. And so there's a video out there about it by Jackie Cote. Jackie Cote is one of our Millionaire Club members with our company. And I said, look, I have some information I'd like to share with you. It may or may not be for you. It'll only take you 15 minutes to take a look at it after we had a good conversation. She said, sure, Mr. Buford, I'll take a look at it. And I said, look, the individual sharing the information is a lady by the name of Jackie Cote. She has a phenomenal background, a real giver, real altruistic, real community type involved individual. She got involved as an entrepreneur, not out of greed and wanted to buy nice watches, clothes, boats, and everything else. But she just wanted to give back more to her community and get money as an issue out the way so she could do so. And I tell you, owe it to yourself to hear her story. Incredible story, fantastic person. I'm going to send this overview to you. Take a look at it. She said, sure, I'd love to learn more about her. You see what I'm saying? Edification. Edification, right? And once again, as I start to wrap up here, I'm going to give you the formula. How do you edify? Someone who's successful, that's earned a lot, helps a lot of people, fun to be around, highly informed, right? And that's why I was never had to give a presentation. That's why I was able to move, because it was just all about making those 3 to 5 invitations per day, taking 10, 15 minutes out of my day to extend an invitation and then follow up individuals. And that's how I did it. And that's what I wanted to share with the team today. Now, I'm 15 minutes past the time I said I was going to go. I'm going to, at some point, talk about this last page, because this piece is so important. But understand, every single person that I shared information with, whether they made a buying decision or not, I would ask them the same questions. Who do you know that could be helped by what you learned today? Who do you know that's a business owner? Who do you know that's looking for a new career or perhaps looking to earn an extra $1,500 part-time spare time, right? That will take an interest in what we're doing. Who you think could get excited about how we are serving entrepreneurs and business owners in the community? I would ask those three questions. We call it R3. Those are the three referrals we ask for. And I'm going to tell you right now, 1 out of 10 individuals whom I asked that question to, not only were they inclined to actually utilize our service to build their business, but they raised their hand and say, me too. I'd like to participate. So I never went out recruiting people. I never went out harassing people. I never went out trying to cajole people into joining my business. I would ask for referrals. And the last referral I would ask for, you know, he was looking to earn additional revenues in their business, looking for a career change, maybe just looking to learn a little extra on the side. And what they would do is they would literally raise their hand and say, me. 1 out of 10. And that's how I was able to build a sales organization of people who were just as passionate about the value prop as I was. And more importantly, I was able to build an organization that duplicated, because you didn't need salesmanship. You didn't need to know how to give a presentation. You didn't need to know all these different tactics and strategies and be, you know, the elite of everything in your network. All you need to do is be willing to give an invitation, learn how to edify, introduce people to tools, and invite them out for lunch, right? So, all right, I'm like 15 minutes behind schedule, but I'm going to just encourage individuals for the next 5 minutes or so. Look, if you have questions, get your questions in. I know I shared a lot in a short amount of time. And I know there may be some concepts, philosophies, or ideals that you want clarification on. Know this is being recorded. So, of course, if you want to follow up, we can have that too. But do we have any questions regarding any of the content that I shared? Questions going once. Questions going twice. Now, I know I give good trainings and presentations, but it couldn't have been that good. Questions going once, twice, thrice. All right, so look, this is what we're going to do. If you have questions, you know, you can follow me in Slack. You can follow me via text message. Give me a call a little bit later on. I'm rushing off to my next time commitment. But I'll be available to answer any additional questions people may have. Look, I trust this served you. I look forward to seeing you next week, next Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I celebrate success in advance. Goodbye for now.